Hello guys and welcome to a new Bespoke Synth tutorial. Today I want to show you how to use the looper and how to expand some of its functionalities using other modules. So without further ado, let's play the intro. The looper is an audio effect, so we can search for it under audio effects. As you can see, it receives both notes and audio signals. For the purpose of this video, I want to use my external keyboard, which is here by my side. So I need to use an input module and select the channels where I plugged it in, which are channels 7 and 8. And I can send my input source to the looper. The looper seems to be turned off. And it's true because it's turned off. If you want to turn it on, you simply need to select its output pin and connect it to the gain stage, the output stage. Now you can see that the green marker is moving, it's running, and now we can start talking about some of its controls, which are the number of measures. So here, using this drop-down menu, you can select how many measures you want your loop to be. As you change this value, these yellow bars, vertical bars, will appear showing you the end and the beginning of the next measure. You can write to the looper buffer with no delay using write. So as you press write, it will record your signal. And it continues looping and recording again and again. You have to stop it manually. If you want to clear the loop, you simply need to press clear. I personally use the write control only when I want to test the looper and I want to see if the input signal it's getting into the looper. Otherwise, it's not that handy if you are making your live performance. What you want to use instead, if you're making your own music or a live performance, it's capture. And it will record as the loop begins. So it will wait until the end of the loop and it will start recording from the beginning. So we can turn on the audio engine, we can wait, capture. You see now it's orange and now it's red, so it's recording. And what's interesting about it is that it stops recording as it reaches the end of the loop. So we can have a test, we can clear, we can press capture, we wait until the end and a very basic control, it's the volume, so you can turn the volume all the way down or you can increase it and it will change the waveform as well. You can mute your looper. You can save this content to a folder. I tried it and I wasn't able to save my loop. Maybe I made something wrong, but I tested with the default recordings folder of Bespoke and with other folders, and I wasn't able to save my loop. So let me know in the comment sections if you were able to save your loops. Then you can play your loop twice faster or at half speed. And what's interesting is that as we decrease or increase the playback speed, it adds measures so that the looper can contain the audio file which has a longer or shorter length. So it's very interesting. If you want to undo any action, you simply need to press undo. And here we have the previous recording, which was silence. Since I was showing you the capture feature and I was recording with two measures, we have the first two measures with signal, which is nothing, but it shows us that we were recording, and the other two measures are fully empty because we didn't have the third and fourth measure before. So we can set two measures and we can clear all, and now we are with a default looper. One more interesting feature that can be handy if you want to create evolving soundscape or textural sounds that changes again and again, it's the decay. So it will lower the volume amount each repetition. So let's test it. As you can see, each repetition, each loop, the waveform is getting smaller and smaller. If you set the decay to 0, it will stop the decay. We can bring up the volume and talk about one more feature, which is Fourtet. This is very useful when you want to use rhythms. So it's perfect for breakbeat, for glitchy drum breaks. What it does, it chops the audio file in chunks. Here we can select 1, 2, 4, 8, 16 chunks, and it will randomly read between these chunks. Then we have the pitch control, which can be used to affect pitch only. We can set the pitch to adapt to the main tempo using the auto toggle here. Then we have the offset. It moves the waveform back and forth. The first chord is a C major. I apply. And now we can listen that the C major is at the end. If you want to reset your looper and its default position, it doesn't work like so. So if you set it to 0 and set apply, it won't work. You need to undo, and sometimes the undo doesn't work. So the offset might be useful, but I almost never use it because I'm not able to recall the original audio file position. Talking about offset, you can create interesting playback variation using the offset and the smooth control. So if we increase the smooth value to 0.2, it's like using the Fourtet control with interpolation. So this is pretty interesting and you can get pretty cool effects out of this control. So we can bring the offset to 0 and talk about this last slider control, which is scratch speed. So if this is enabled, you can scratch your audio file. Smooth control should be set to 0, otherwise you won't hear anything. On top, I forgot to talk about one more button, which is the extend button. It will make the loop twice longer, so If I toggle it, you can see that we have 4 bars, which are essentially the repetition of the same audio loop. Another interesting feature is the bake button. Here you can bake the current volume into the waveform. So let's say that this volume is too loud. We can lower it, but the waveform is too small. We cannot distinguish each transient. So we press bake and it will increase, it will bring that volume level to the default waveform amplitude. From this position, we can decrease the volume even more, or we can increase it and save this amplitude to the current default amplitude, and so on. During the intro, I told you that some looper functionalities can be extended using other modules, and what I was referring to was the loop recorder. So it is an audio module as well, but it can receive audio only, and we'll understand why in a few seconds. As you can imagine, the loop recorder will manage all things related to recording, making the loop capture easier and more intuitive, if we can say so. We have audio input only because now we need to repatch our project. The input this time goes inside the loop recorder, and we can move things so we can better visualize everything. And the audio output out of loop recorder is sent to looper. We need one more connection, which is made here. We see loopers. We can bind up to 4 loopers with a loop recorder. And there are pretty cool features that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. So to bind the looper to the loop recorder, we take one of these loopers output gray cables and we send it on top of looper. Now, if we move on top, we have measure length, but the description it's a little bit different from the previous one we read here, which is the simple loop length in measures. Here we see that length in measures to use when connected loopers use the commit button. And if you take a closer look, inside looper, we have a commit button instead of a simple capture. If we disconnect the looper, we can see that we have capture. If we bind the looper to the loop recorder, we have commit. So let's say that we want this looper to be 2 bars only. Now it's 4. We need to turn on the audio system. We press commit and we have 2 bars. From this point, the loop recorder will be the control console to all loopers. We can connect up to 4 loopers, and I'm going to duplicate this one. Let's do 3 of them, it's enough, and we can set the second one and the third one. Now that our 3 loopers are connected, we need to send the audio signal from loop recorder to each of them. So we can press shift when we're on top of the output pin of loop recorder. We drag out of it and it will generate by default a send module. Send modules are generated each time you want to copy an audio signal. Now I want to use one more send. The first output of send, it's sent to the first looper. The second one, it's sent to the send 2. And here it's first output to looper 2 and its second output to looper 3. We have a stereo cable that goes from the loop recorder to the first send, and then we have mono cables. That's because the audio system is turned off and it's not updated. As we turn it on, it will update, and here we have all stereo channels. Now let me reorganize the entire patch so it will be easier for you to visualize everything, and I'll see you in a few seconds. Here we are with a more clear and organized patch. Now we can start talking about some controls of looper recorder. So you have free record, which is essentially the same control as we've seen inside loopers, which was called write. It starts recording as you press this control and you have to stop it manually. If you want to delete that free recording, you simply need to press cancel free rec, and you can use clear as well to clear the entire buffer. You can control the playback speed of the loop. So original speed will set the original speed at which that audio was recorded. You can snap to pitch, so the audio length will be modified according to the pitch. And if you, during your performance, you want to change the main tempo, you can use the resample and set key to adapt the audio file you recorded to the new time. As we've seen for loopers, here you can control the playback speed both here and here from loop recorder. You can also visualize the audio input in real time, so let's turn on the audio system. Here you can visualize the audio input in real time. You can select to capture 1 bar, 2 bars, 4, 8. So this system is pretty interesting because it is always recording, and it's up to you to decide when to capture a specific audio content. To understand into which looper we are recording, we can visualize first the loopers section here, and we can see that the first dot is highlighted, as well for the looper itself, which is highlighted by this white line. If we change the target, we set the first one, it will highlight the looper 2 and looper 3. You can also select the auto advance, and it will automatically switch to the next looper as we finish our recording. And this is very, very interesting because it's like recording a piece with a multitrack recorder. You have separate channels, separate audio files that can be overdubbed if you want to do so, and you can mix your live performance. You have volume, you have pitch, you can apply different decays, so it's a really advanced looper. Now, what I want to do is to set auto advanced. We can start recording into the looper 1, 2 bars, the entire length. And since I've set 2 measures, I'm going to capture the first 2 measures. Make sure that the looper mode is set to record. And now we can turn on the volume, and I can record a few notes. Now the loop recorder is set to record into the looper 2. So and now inside looper 3. I know that the recording is what it is, but I'm hearing a very annoying latency between my piano and Bespoke, and that's not because of Bespoke, but because I'm using applications in the background to record, and I'm using a virtual interface as well. So I think that that's the problem. and I'm going to fix it for future videos, so I'll be able to bring you a full demonstration of loopers. That being said, when you connect a looper to the loop recorder, copy and swap are two extra options that appears. So let's say that you have your content recorded on looper 1. I want to copy this content and paste it inside looper 2. So here we see that copy is highlighted in blue, and I select the target, which is looper 2. I select copy, and here I have the same audio file inside looper 1 and looper 2. If I want to swap my audio file from one looper to another, I can simply use a swap, and this time it will change the position of the audio file. Another control that is super useful is the merge button. So let's say that you have three, like in this example, you have 3 loopers, you tweaked each parameter, so you made your own mix, and you know that these 3 audio files, in my example, are 3 simple notes, are mixed, and you don't want to touch them for the entire piece. You can select merge, select your target, so you free some space here, and then you can take the looper 2 content and move it inside looper 3. So it's like mixing all 3 channels. Now you have 2 free loopers and the last one, which contains all audio files. That was all for today's tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more content like this, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to support my channel. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.